Before we start with the pledge, just like to take a moment to honor Rick Raverson. Don't know exactly how many years he served on the council, but I know he was here before many of us were here, and served in other capacities as well. And fortunately passed away due to an injury that he took just before he had set to retire from his position. So if we just take a moment to acknowledge Rick and his memory. Thank you. Say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. We'll entertain a motion for the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose the same. So moved.
We gotta get that off there.
Ms. Atkins.
So I have the fund report for you guys to sign from the last few weeks.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second to approve accounts payable. All in favor say aye. Aye, oppose the same. So moved.
The second thing that I have is for the first reading of the 2026 wage ordinance. It's in your Dropbox. The ordinance is structured bi-weekly based on the 27 pay periods, as we've discussed, occurring in 2026. The reason for this is because our first payroll will be issued on January 2nd of 26, which covers the last 2 weeks of December. Well, 2-ish weeks of December, last pay period. And then it goes, our final payroll will be on December 31st of 26 because we cannot have a payroll on 1/1 of 27 due to the Federal Reserve being closed and things like that. So we will be paid 3 times next year in January, July, and December, which also helps create the 27th pay. As a cash-based entity, we cannot do the accrual method as our fiscal year runs from January 1st through December 31st. So the wage ordinance is, again, still based on bi-weekly, but with 27 pays. So if there's any further discussion about that or anything that you guys see that you want to discuss.
Nope, sounds good.
Okay.
This is just first reading.
Yeah, just first reading, so then I'll have the second and third on December 8th. I should have said it beforehand, but I did direct Kathy to get a floral arrangement or some sort of arrangement for Rick's viewing.
Let them vote on that
Okay.
first before we get anywhere else.
Okay, so if you'd like to vote on that to be able to do that.
The wage ordinance?
Yeah, we're gonna do the wage
Sorry.
ordinance before we get into Rick's thing.
Sorry.
So,
Yeah.
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 I'll make a motion to approve is it the 23-2025 wage ordinance on first reading?
Yep.
I'll second.
We got a first and a second to approve, a motion and a second to approve the wage ordinance on first reading, 23-2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose the same. So moved.
Okay, so then, yes, I did speak with Kathy today, and she's gonna I don't know, at the time I talked to her, it was around lunchtime, I don't know if the arrangements were set in stone yet, but we will be getting an arrangement to them. Also, I know that the second council meeting of December falls on December 22nd. Right now, I don't know how it would all work, but I don't think we necessarily need that except to maybe move it a week ahead where we would have 2 council meetings back to back. I would have had this final payroll, all that for 25 done. So that's
So you're suggesting what?
that we don't have to have the second meeting in December on the 22nd. If we could have it that week of either the 16th through the 19th.
I would like to counterpoint that before you make a decision. So
Okay.
I know everybody, that time of year, nobody likes to have the meeting, but if we can, one, if there's anything that goes wrong between now and then, having that extra meeting gives us another meeting to get that business accomplished. And so when we were looking at, like, we put that wage ordinance together because I wanted some cushion rather than needing it to be approved on second and third reading at that meeting, not to get rid of the meeting, but just to give ourselves some cushion. So it also might put some pressure on Keith in terms of having appointments ready for you. There's probably not a lot that's gonna change, but I know, like the plan commission, there's some decisions that need to be made. For instance, even if it's a short meeting, I would just say we should plan on having it, and my recommendation would be leave it on the 22nd.
I don't think she's asking to eliminate it.
I'm just saying.
She's asking to have a short meeting a few days beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying have an extra meeting?
No, just have a
Okay.
short meeting on the 19th or something like that, if you could be, instead of the
Instead
22nd.
of the 22nd.
Yeah,
It's still a second meeting, it's just.
Still have a second meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as that doesn't mess up your claims process or
no,
anything like
I think
that.
that would be fine, as long as that's okay with you guys, so.
Is there a reason the 22nd doesn't work?
Just because it's the holiday, it just was thrown out to me to ask, if everybody can be here. I know last year you guys had it on the 23rd, was the second meeting, so just if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm okay with either way.
So there is one thing with the wastewater plant capital project. Our loan closing is slated for December 18th. And in order to have Thieneman's contract signed prior to the expiration of the 150-day bid hold period, it would not be able to wait until the meeting in January. I can ask Thieneman if that's an issue, because they already have their tentative notice of award, and we can issue them a formal notice of award once loan closing has gone through. But as far as having a signed contract in hand, I was gonna start the process of getting a draft contract put together to get in front of you guys for review, so that we could potentially turn it right around there at the meeting on the 22nd and start the timeline on the construction project.
Okay, it's fine, just throwing it out there. Like I said, it was
I
just,
think the easiest thing, just ask if to be here on the 22nd.
Yep.
And if it's good, then you'll just leave it alone.
yep. So as long as you guys are all good with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the 22nd.
22nd?
Yep.
Okay.
22nd it is.
All right, sounds good. Well,
And
that's
if
all
that changes, I'll let everybody know. I'll still reach out to Thieneman and see, if it'd be an issue, if it did wait until January to have that contract signed. But I'll let you know.
Okay. All right, that's all I have then.
Is that it?
Yep, thank you.
All right.
Okay, so, one thing I did circulate an email on, but I just wanted to remind you that you can take action on this basically at any time, but that police chief decision is yours. It's not the police commission. It is straight in the town code, and I believe it's supported by state statute, and that's just because that unique nature of that and the assistant chief position. Those are leadership positions, and they serve at the pleasure of the council.
So are they both?
Both of them. I think I said at the meeting, I thought it applied to the lieutenant and the sergeant as well, but they are not in the code that way. I would argue it should be treated that way, but it's not in the code that way. But for right now, the only one in front of you is the chief decision, and that absolutely is in your wheelhouse, so.
I'll make a motion that we approve Trent Stouter as the new police chief for Bremen,
I
Starting
second.
when?
starting, what was the date?
Wasn't it February?
February
16th?
I think 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When?
That's
February
Brad's
16th.
last day is the 16th.
February
17th.
16th of 2026.
I'll second it.
Is that the proper, effective date for payroll and all that jazz, or does it
Yeah, I'd have to
matter?
look at that, yeah.
I mean, is it easier and cleaner to do it on a date that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, you have two questions. It's when is he assuming the position?
The 16th is a Monday, so that would be,
I would assume
That
that
would
that was
work,
already
right?
looked
I
at.
know Brad, last work day is like January 14th, and then he starts his vacation.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be
So-
correct then. Yeah, because we get paid the Friday before.
Do you want to make him interim? as
Well, I
a-
think you just started earlier,
Yeah,
even though it's vacation. I mean, it doesn't make much sense to have somebody on
call it
vacation
interim or
for 2
whatever.
weeks and not have
Yeah.
somebody in the office.
well, but can you have, my question would be, I understand he's on vacation, but say we have, God forbid, like an active shooter situation, Brad rolls up, who's in charge? You know, you just want to make sure there's a clear chain of command, right? So, if it's understood that Brad is ridden off into the sunset for good, regardless of what happens, then, yeah, I want to avoid that situation, so. That's all.
Is he gonna be in the state of Indiana? I don't think he's
I
gonna.
don't think so.
No.
Yeah,
Change the date, or what do we need to?
you could frankly ask us to just. or
Well,
ask
it doesn't,
Megan to
actually, it
sort that
doesn't
out.
really matter. We'll start it effective February 16th because in Brad's absence, he's in charge anyways.
Yep,
So,
Yeah.
so,
That works.
Okay.
Just double check.
so we have a motion and a second, do you have a second?
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second to approve the, Trent Stouter for police of, chief of police, effective February 16th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. So moved.
all right, get your pens out, we're gonna get started on this stuff.
And then you just do your business and then take it to the commission and then they'll make their recommendation for assistant and bring it up here and we'll get it approved that way.
Congratulations, though.
Yeah. If you're followed all the stuff that got dumped into Dropbox from Friday on, basically ordinance 19-2025, creating a fund to receive payments and pay expenses related to the operation of the Jackson Street Fire Pit. I believe the state is requiring Ms. Adkins to have a special fund for that money to come in and money to go out. So we tried to make it kind of open-ended, and so that it would allow, like, if this thing does, like, I don't even know if it's operating on a profit basis, but if you have extra money, you could use it to improve the fire pit or the Jackson Street area. I don't know if that really is likely. We would like you to approve this one on all 3 readings, though, just so we can get it open and start using it.
What has that generated? Do you know off the top of your head?
There's about $250 right now in the bank account.
Okay.
So that's where my problem lies. It's a separate bank account and it's not in fund. So and there's no way to get that out unless I go literally to the bank and withdraw it. So this would put it in fund into our one bank account, which is what I'm trying to create and make it less messy. We don't have a line item for that, but yeah, it would just be, right now, it's just gonna keep accruing that money. Also, by having a separate fund, we effectively lose about $75 a month that I have to keep track of and to tell at the bank, hey, give that money back to us because it is not set up correctly and it gets fees added to it. I think I've found all of those for this year. I'm gonna ask Amy when I go to move that money and close that account. Keith and I are working with the credit card company to be able to put that money, in the bank. But that's all part of it too, is we're losing money by having that in a separate account if,
So then you
we
budget
weren't.
for that next year?
Yes.
Is that- Okay.
yeah, yep, so, yep.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 19-2025
I'll second.
on second, all 3 readings, sorry.
On all 3 readings, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 19-2025 for creating a fund to receive payments for the expenses of the operation of the Jackson Street Fire Pit. On all 3 readings, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed the same, so moved.
All right, I'm gonna send that one down. If it's all right, while you guys are getting that executed, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the next one, just because we have a number to get through. So these will be, working through the annexation ordinances. 20-2025 is the annexation of essentially Piper's minor subdivision on Fur Road. We went over that at the public hearing a couple weeks ago in a lot of detail. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, so these are not conventional ordinances. Basically, it's not a matter of first, second, third reading, you just approve them because it's not something that functions that way. So this is an up or down vote.
You've been replaced.
I've been replaced. It's got Davis instead of
Yeah,
Daly.
Bill Davis on here instead of,
Well, that's on, wait, did I do that one? No, I didn't, that was.
On the fund? I didn't do it.
No, I would have done that one. I was gonna say, was it Ice Miller, but yeah, that's me, I'm sorry. So either that or autocorrect got it, so.
Same on this one.
We'll get that corrected. I would tell you, don't bother signing that one, we'll get that fixed and reprinted at the end of the meeting. So if you guys can hang out for 1 minute. So, yeah. Sorry about that. All right, so, yeah, ordinance 20-2025 is just ready for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025 for the annexation of Piper minor subdivision on Fur Road.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 20-2025. Is this on all three readings?
No.
It's just.
Yeah, no, it's not something you do on readings like that, you just approve
Okay.
it. So,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
all right, so I've got 2 of these to be executed. Goes down. Next one is 20-2021. This is the Grayville Commercial Property LLC annexation on Destiny Drive. I think we started calling it the Graver Destiny Drive annexation territory, but essentially this one, again notable, the annexation ordinance does call for light industrial on one parcel. Everything else is gonna stay ag or, I think actually even the residential parcel has an ag designation. And originally we had talked about leaving one off that residential property. We are still wrangling with the electric territory question. And with what we're trying to acquire, I'd like to try to see if we can get as much of that territory in, if we're gonna acquire that territory, rather than just the one parcel. So my conclusion was we had to annex it to get it that even into the question. I don't think it's gonna change much tax-wise for Mr. Graver. So essentially, that's why it ended up not changing. It's all basically on that electric issue. We got kind of thrown a curveball today, and we're still figuring out how to respond to it. So we're just gonna keep working on it and seeing what we can do. So if you have any questions about that, find me outside of the meeting and I'll kind of tell you what the status of it is, but that's still ongoing. So ordinance 21-2025, ready for approval for annexation there.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 21-2025 annexation of, what do we call it, the Graver?
Destiny Drive.
Destiny Drive.
Territory. or
Territory.
area, whatever you want to call it, so.
I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 21-2025. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed the same, so moved.
And then ordinance 2022-2025, this would be for the annexation of the territory on Third Road. I think we're just calling it Third Road territory. This one is not changing any of the zoning designations, recessed uses or anything like that. Those changes will happen at some point in the future, but those will go in front of the Plan Commission to approve any redesign. In fact, there's already some different shapes that are gonna go through on a preliminary basis, really just addressing kind of where the trail is. So those will be coming through in December. But really, no other changes on this ordinance as well for the one that we had circulated a few weeks ago. So,
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 22-2025, annexation of Third Road territory.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve ordinance 22-2025. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. So moved.
all right, and then moving on to the resolutions now. Resolution 2025-10, approving basically the fiscal plan for, we're gonna do one for each one of these annexations.
They got the wrong name on them.
Say what?
William Davis is on those too.
Yeah, I must have grabbed this from something that I did. I actually probably did that one and I used
They
it.
say daily here.
It is on this one, but it's wrong on 25-10 as well. So it's wrong on all the resolutions. So I must have made that mistake once and then I was moving it over to each thing, so I apologize. I'm still gonna ask you to approve them. We're just gonna fix them and get the first pages reprinted and after the meeting. So, resolution 2025-10, this is the fiscal plan for the Pfeiffer Road, Fur Road property. And that was the fiscal plan that I actually put together, using a old form of Dave Holmes, actually, rather than the more detailed Baker Tilly plan. And part of that was just because there really isn't anything going into it. All the development is happening related to the Third Road property, and John's is just kind of a pit stop along the way. So in terms of benefits to the town, it's good to have the space in, but we're not gonna see any increased taxes other than what that house generates, which isn't a whole lot. And that doesn't start obviously until the house gets constructed. Everything else, since it's ag, will not generate any new taxes until it gets assessed differently, so.
I'll make a resolution, or a motion for resolution 2025-10 for the Piper property.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second to approve resolution 2025-10. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. So
All right.
moved.
And then, resolution 2025-11, this is the resolution approving the fiscal plan for the Graver Destiny Drive property. So, likewise, the parcel that Graver is developing, that will generate new tax. The properties that are staying as ag will not generate new tax. The house, actually, the assessment there will generate a little bit new tax, but an insignificant amount, the way that residential real estate gets taxed. The other parcels, though, until something new goes up, they are what they are, so.
With the Graver property, are you expanding TIF?
We will have to move the TIF over to include it. So that is still in the works. We just have to get some other things squared away first. So,
Okay.
but I think it was mentioned at one of the recent RDC meetings, and we'll start that process in December.
Okay.
So. Yeah. So resolution 2025-11, again, that fiscal plan is in the Dropbox if you had a chance to read through that one, so.
I'll make a motion for resolution 2025-11 for the Graver property.
I'll second.
We've got a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2025-11. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. So moved.
All right, and then resolution 2025-12 is the resolution approving the fiscal plan for the Third Road area. So, and again, it's staying ag until it gets turned into something else. That may happen sooner than on those other annexations, but just depends.
I'll make a motion for resolution 2025-12 for the Third Road property.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2025-12. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. So moved.
And then resolution 2025-13, this actually goes back to the bond project financing, does have the same typo in Mr. Daly's name, so we're gonna have to fix this one as well. Essentially, we were supposed to have this at the last meeting. I apologize we didn't. We were still waiting on getting it from Ice Miller, but This is a resolution that essentially authorizes the project to go forward with the Rural Water Financing Agency, which I think is actually located in Kentucky. Kind of weird, but, so that's who we're going forward, and we just need to get this approved so that can continue moving towards its closing date of December 18 is still the date for that, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So,
And we don't have that in the Dropbox.
do they not have this one? Okay.
We do not.
So I can give you a hard copy of it right now, and if you want to table this for a moment and come back to it
that was
later on in the meeting, if you
before.
want to flip through it, so.
Thank you.
So depending on when you want to act on that, that is all I have. We have covered all the documents that I have. Do you have soft copies? Yeah, maybe PDFs.
So what is this? Is it rolling it into the other project?
Well, so that's part of it. I mean, this is basically just saying we've got permission to move forward with seeking financing from this entity. But part of the transaction, and this was always going to be the case, whether it was the RWFA or it was SRF, was basically that they were going to take the existing balance on those older bonds and fold that number into these bonds and reissue. And I think it's based on kind of a debt limit issue, basically, is the way I would distill it down. That may not be the best way to say it.
That and when
but-
the payments are due, like you can't have
Yeah.
two different payments for kind of the same thing, so this makes it all be one payment rather than, so,
Okay.
yeah. I think they talked about it, Baker Tilly came a couple times ago when they first started saying that we were gonna go this route. That's part of it, is that, and effectively it saves us some money right now. Saves a good chunk by rolling it all together.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion on resolution number 2025-13 to move forward on this bond, rolling this together. Bond.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2025-13. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. So moved.
You want these back on?
I'll take them, yeah, I don't mind, I'll take care of them, I'll get documents saved here, so. So unless there's any other questions about this stuff or anything else, that's all I have.
New business. Do we have any new business to discuss? Old business? Nothing on the docket. Public comment?
Couple things.
Well, you gotta come up here and state your name and,
Really?
or stand up at least,
All right, fair enough. Joe Blakely,
and your address.
424 South Jack.
Thank you.
First thing is the guardrail next to my business. The beam needs to be put back up to support the other end of that before somebody gets killed. Last weekend, a girl hit it, ripped the whole side of her car off. It's been probably at least 6 months that that beam's been missing. If a small car hits it coming southbound, it's gonna go through the windshield. Because there's nothing to stop it. it just hangs out there in the wind. So, it's on town property, so if something happens, y'all are liable. And the second thing is, scooters, these kids are running around at night with no lights, no reflectors, somebody's gonna get hurt. So I don't know what the town can do about that, but these new scooters move pretty quick, and these kids do not pay attention.
I believe we've been trying to address it with the school, in conjunction with the school, with the new SRO officer, and just with the teachers, and try to educate them. At this point, this is our first attempt. I think we saw a little bit of a, I mean, I personally saw better, out of the kids this summer, just, not darting across streets and stuff like that. So I felt like it kind of toned down a little bit, but I agree, at night, with no lights on these things.
Right, and these new scooters can move along pretty good. It's not like a bicycle.
No.
So, yeah, that's my two things.
Trent, have your guys mentioned anything about that?
Like the night shift guys or the evening guys when school's out, they haven't mentioned
Anything
a
after
lot.
dark?
Excuse me?
Anything after dark that they're seeing or?
Nothing that they have mentioned to me that they've noticed. We haven't had too many complaints other than this. I mean, I see it from my house. And kids do operate those things carelessly.
It's probably worse this time of year with it getting dark at 5:30. I mean, the kids are still out, right? In the summertime, they're not out after dark usually.
Right, but it's not practice.
They're still at practice coming home, but, yeah, they're not really designed to be rode at nights, but, so.
There's one other thing. You guys do anything more with this Dora thing?
We have not done anything with the door thing yet.
Okay.
No.
Making sure, because me and Al talked about it a couple times, so.
Well,
Okay, I'll be
Keith
patient.
and I've been looking at some ordinance stuff. I have to admit, it's not front burner for some issues, but the RDC did hear that petition last week for the
Village shops.
village shops installation, which really fits in well with it. So I would like to have the Dora in front of you early in 2026. So that could be up and running by the time, if that village shops program goes forward, great. But it just seems like it'd be a great thing to take advantage of at the same time, so.
Tara actually has the little stickers for the cups, in case of them in her office, so
Okay,
we're moving forward, just
okay.
hopefully spring-ish.
Yeah, so I have passed that last meeting we had. Do we need to have an organizational meeting that says, here's the criteria, these are the rules,
Yeah.
everybody on board, and then bring it in front of the council?
Did
So-
you guys have I thought we were gonna invite the local businesses in downtown to talk and discuss. Did that ever happen?
We did that one time already.
Everybody
I
was
reached
okay?
out to every business, and everybody was all for it. We didn't have one that went, oh, I don't want that. Yeah.
So there were a couple businesses that actually had somebody at that meeting, and they had some good points and had some input on criteria, and I think then it sounds like what we need to do is come up with what looks like more of a final draft, and then put it in front of them, just to make sure it meets up, and then we'll get it in front of you guys, so.
So, I mean, things are happening.
Well, I just know as business owners, some of us have talked a little more, and there's more questions and stuff with, like there always is, come up, so.
And it wouldn't hurt, Joe, if we got those questions ahead of time, like, so if someone could organize them and email them to Keith or something.
Okay.
We will provide answers that we have, but my thought would be, if there's a good idea in there or a good question that we haven't thought of, I'd rather have it while I'm still in the drafting phase than right at the end, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah, thank you, that'd be helpful.
Any other public comment? All right, Frank.
This is for Austin. He's on vacation, and his foreman, Riker, is studying hard tonight for the test tomorrow for drone operators, so he couldn't be here. But Austin wanted to let you guys know that leaf pickup will probably, he says, be over on December 12th unless we have an accumulation of snow that sticks, that changes everything, but December 12th is that magic date for leaf pickup. That's been a big deal this year, just with the weather and everything, but they're on it with the 12th. If you guys look downtown, looked at the four corners, the work that went into that, the electric department, they're yearly putting up the garland, all the decoration looks amazing. I called for a work detail, anybody could help. I think everybody sent people, every department. We bought enough lights to restring all the trees downtown. Big thank you to Bollenbacher Pines. They gave us the 4 trees for the 4 corners out here. If you guys bought a real Christmas tree in the last couple of years, well over $100 a piece. So if you get a chance to buy your tree at Bollenbacher's, or at least say thanks. They just jumped on board with that real quick. Amy Stouter and Tara came in on Saturday. The gift boxes that our street department built and painted, the gals came in and put the bows and stuff on that, but it's been all hands on deck, and the town's gonna look amazing for our lighting ceremony. And what's kind of neat, and I said it before, what's kind of cool is watching this group of men and women come together, and all I gotta do is say, hey, we need some extra hands, and everybody comes around, and it's gonna look exactly like that on the lighting ceremony. But huge thank you to all the departments. But you have my report.
Thank you. Henry?
The only thing I have, I would like, with your permission or advice, I would like to replace my 2006 Chevy truck that I have. It was hand-me-down from the wastewater. It's a 2006, and it's been in my budget for the last couple of years to replace it this year. And I got a couple prices, a couple quotes, one from McCormick's and one here from Lockmandy. And McCormick's price is $54,500. And Lockmandy was $57,041. So with your permission, I'd like to replace that 2006.
I don't think we need a motion, do we?
It's been in my budget.
Under the 75,
75.
in your budget, yeah.
You're good.
You're good to go, Henry.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Chief?
So Keith mentioned something about Riker's not here. The County Fire Association went to the county council and asked if they would purchase a couple of drones for us to use. It can be instrumental for search and rescue, lost people, et cetera, so they actually bought 2 versus 1. And I currently have 4 firefighters, 4 volunteers that are in that right now. Riker being one of them, Nate's another one, Brad Thornton and Colin Snyder. So I just purchased, so if anybody ever looks at the recs I turned in, there was one in there for Pilot Institute LLC. It's for these guys to learn how to operate those drones. So that's going to be a huge asset for us. Currently, they're going to be held in Plymouth, but I have been working with John Grulich, the head of the County Fire Association. I could see mid next year one of them being up here for us to use and be readily available for the police to use as well, or anybody. But that's all I have.
Thank you. Ben?
I just kind of echo what Keith's saying. The guys really knocked it out of the park decorating the downtown. They actually got creative and have repurposed a lot of the old ornaments. We could have went out and spent money on new ones, but I know everyone loves the tradition around here, so they've got creative and found ways on the cheap to spruce them back up, make them look good. So, and you've got my report.
All right, thank you. Nate?
Nothing further tonight. You got my report?
Matt?
You have my report.
All right, thank you.
And one more thing.
Yes, sir.
This is for, can I say the chief yet?
Sure.
No? This is for Trent and Matt. We are going to have the chamber, as in Indian Chambers. He did the drone work for their haunted house, the Chambers residence. It was professional. It was amazing. His grandmother actually came up, and then he came up. But what he would like to do is take care of our lighting ceremony, Santa coming in. Beforehand, he's going to put GoPros up on buildings, and he's going to put together quite a production for us for free. I just want to let you guys know in case anything comes up and you see a drone, that he's got permission. If there's any concerns that you guys have, get with me. This all's kind of just coming to a head tonight, so.
Very good.
I'll make a motion to accept department head reports.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to accept department reports. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. So moved. Okay. You're up, Dan.
All right, I only got a couple of things. First off, around this time every year, we usually reach out to the districts and town councils that we do work with about SRF funding, and specifically about updating the preliminary engineering reports and asset management plans in order to kind of remain in standing for SRF funding. However, the last couple of times that we've gotten scored, we haven't scored very well. And now that we're moving forward with Rural Water Financing Agency for phase 1 of this project, I didn't know if there was still any interest from the town in pursuing SRF funding, especially given what just occurred this fall, where we were kind of counting on going through the SRF pool program and got told that we couldn't do that because of where we landed with scoring. So, I mean, we'll obviously continue to pursue grant opportunities and whatnot, but I was wanted to gauge the town's interest in whether we want to update that cost estimate and asset management plan to kind of keep rolling and stay on the project priority list with SRF.
My opinion is yes, especially when we look at interest rates.
Okay.
Depending what the interest rate is and what our next project is, or if they come out with further grants for lead service line potential replacements, I think we need to be ready for those.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Now, this would just be
And
for
you
that.
concur, Matt concur? I mean,
This would just be for the clean water, wastewater program.
okay.
Yeah, so, like the, drinking water side of things is a completely different.
Okay. I think
completely
we should
different
stay
animal.
up to date on it though.
Okay. Okay. So we'll do that. I'll probably, come to a meeting in March and have to have you guys, sign off on an updated certification on the asset management plan and PER and everything, but we'll move forward on getting that updated. Another thing I touched earlier in the meeting on the construction contract between the town and Thieneman Construction. They've requested that if you recall, the project was broken into 2 contracts. So there's 2 phases, but there's also 2 contracts. In contract A, Thieneman was awarded both of them, and they're wondering if you guys have any concerns if we just rolled everything into one contract, rather than having 2 contracts to do paperwork for. We have 1 contract, 1 set of pay apps, 1 set of change orders, everything like that. If that's okay, I'll go ahead and make a draft of that contract and I'll present it at the next meeting.
I don't know about that.
Tony, you see any issues?
Makes sense.
No, but I want to think on it. So, the problem is, that doesn't help you if you do the work of merging the 2 contracts. So I don't think it's an issue as long as it's clearly delineated what the parts of the 2 project are. And I guess my problem is, how do you distinguish a breach on one not being a breach on the other? So I have to admit, my initial reaction, I guess, is keep them separated, 2 different
Okay.
projects. So, because it wasn't bid as like an add-on or anything like that, right?
No, it was bid as 2 separate contracts.
And why was that originally?
In order to garner interest from other contractors. They
Okay.
make the contract pieces smaller so that contractors that may not have been interested in bidding an $8 million project may have been interested in bidding a $4 million project. We also tried to break them apart by specialty. So contract A was largely like the process mechanical work, and contract B is largely the buildings and site improvements. So the plans would still stay separate. The drawings would stay separate.
Do you have the contracts already?
I have.
They haven't been drafted?
I have a draft, yes. I haven't put in the contract cost information yet.
Okay, can you, and see, that's the part I don't really need. Can you just send me what you have?
Yeah, sure.
So,
Yeah, you bet.
and then we'll have an answer for you ready to approve at the next meeting, how about that?
Okay, yeah, they're largely identical, so.
That's what I figured, I just
Yeah.
wanna look at it and think on it some more.
That is everything I've got, so, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Town council comments?
One thing I have quickly is, where are we at on filling apartments? Are we still filling?
I was told, we went from yes to no, we're back at no. We're not refilling because of the thought that we're gonna be selling the property, but no, we are not. That's where I was last.
We still have interested parties?
In that building? Oh, yeah. So, my thought on, the reason why I think we were leaving it empty was, and there's still kind of a decision to be made there. If you were to put this out as an RFP, one of the things that you could put in there was something saying that they needed to honor all the existing leases. And if the building is full, that would be less attractive if you were gonna have that requirement in there. I think common sense, like in a generic thing is, if you have an apartment complex, having it full, like, is always better if you're trying to sell it.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's that unique issue on what are you gonna do with the tenants that are already in there? If you put in something saying they get to stay there for X amount of months or this lease term, then having some of the units available.
December 31st, we'll have, I believe, 5. We have one more moving out on the 31st. We'll have 5 empty,
Out of how many?
14 altogether.
Can we add that to old business? That needs
Sure.
to be discussed.
Yeah, we talked about it. I talked to Ken today about getting the survey done, and he was engaging his people to
Okay.
get that done.
But if we just put it on old business, it'll help to keep it
Yeah.
fresh and then,
I guess at the first of the year, we usually have the tenants re-sign the year lease. Is that something that we want to do, or the lease pretty much just saves us, but as Tara told me in the past, we've never really enforced the lease if somebody wanted to leave early.
Right.
But they're 1-year leases.
Yes.
So even if we filled it for 2026, the new tenant will know that all those leases are just 1-year leases.
Right.
And who knows how long this process is gonna take us. Just, do we want the extra revenue coming in?
We don't have anybody knocking our door down to get in, but I know for a fact I could probably find 2 people to go in if we choose to do
I would actually suggest that you do an executive session
Okay.
in December to talk about this. I don't think we'll have the appraisal back or anything like that yet, but that's the kind of discussion I think that you can have there as you're putting together, essentially, like, there's just some of those initial decisions about what an RFP would actually look like.
Okay.
And we put it out there. So, because, obviously any restrictions you put on the building would theoretically limit, the interest of people that are buying it. But I'm not sure anything that I've heard kicked around is necessarily unreasonable either. So I think the people that have expressed interest to me, like, this would not be a problem. So, but that's just something that needs to be talked through. I need some direction if I'm gonna draft that thing, so.
That's all I have.
okay. Brian?
Nope, I'm good.
David?
No. Nope.
Do we need to approve some vacation days for the award banquet / Christmas party?
Yes.
Because that's next
Right.
Friday, and we won't have a council meeting.
Correct.
then, So, just want to make sure we want to take care of that today. We normally approve 10 extra vacation days,
And then sometimes you do a couple extra that night if you,
so is there 15? I mean, I just want to, I know I cannot make the meeting, I just want to make, or the party, so I just want to make sure we had a quorum. I mean, if we have a quorum, then it's fine, but if you have a quorum, okay, so
I
we
would
probably need
say
to approve it tonight.
Do up to,
Up to 20 and, or 15?
up to 15. So,
I'll make a motion to approve 15 additional vacation days for the awards banquet.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve 15
who was the
extra.
second on that?
Bill. 15, Bill Davies, Davis over here. We've got a motion and a second to approve 15 extra vacation days for the awards banquet to be held next Friday. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. So moved.
Thank you.
There was that letter there from the high school
Oh,
asking for support for their funds to be used for the drug testing initiative. I don't know if you're ready to take action on that. I don't know.
I thought we were gonna, the police department was gonna do that through the
Restricted.
unrestricted, are you talking about something?
No, you guys control that money. It's just that for the 2 years that we've had it, all the restricted funds have gone to Marshall County Hope, and all the unrestricted funds have gone to the police department. So, do we even know what amount of money we're talking about for the unrestricted funds for that, for 2026?
It's 10,000.
Okay, and we're not talking $2025.
Correct. I did
Okay.
additional appropriation for 26.
Yeah,
for
2020,
10. Mhm.
all right,
Yep.
so 2026, you have $10,000 and you could take 2,800 out of it, and according to Assistant Chief Stouter, that seems to be fine for the department, so if you want to lock that money in, you can take action on it.
Okay.
I don't know, we probably don't have the ability to, do we have the ability to distribute the money in 2025?
We can because we have 10,000 and 25 too that we haven't used.
Oh,
Yeah, we
Okay.
have 10 in both, so.
all right, so it's not coming out of your 26 distribution, it's
Yes,
coming
we
out
have
of your 25,
so
I'm
He
sorry.
wants it right now.
So,
Yep.
I'll make a motion to allow these funds to go to the school for drug testing.
Hold on a second. So we already appropriated 25 to the police department. Wouldn't it be their decision? I don't know that we have to make another decision, do we?
well, that's why I think we need to clarify and make sure, I thought we were talking about, I thought that was done as well.
Right.
And so that money's out the door as far as I am aware. So then we're talking $2026 and not 2025. So if, I just know the restricted funds, when it came up, when Dustin's place came in and asked for funding, we went back and looked, and that money had already been appropriated, dedicated purpose, and we couldn't unwind that without ruffling some feathers. So, if it's already been appropriated to the police department, my question is, has the money actually already gone out to the police department? Do you have it? If they can wait 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's
Well-
deal with this on the 8th, when we can run the answers down to these questions and figure out what pot it's supposed to come from.
Can you find out then, the other thing was, so unrestricted is going to Hope,
No,
Correct.
restricted.
or restricted is going to Hope. Was that restricted spoken for in 26 already to Hope?
No, that was in 25 that never was encumbered, and I had to do an additional appropriation to write that out of 25 funds. Nothing has been appropriated out of that for 26.
So,
How much is the restricted total?
There's not that much in there now because of that.
well,
Well, for 20.
is there another distribution coming for restricted? No, this is it? Okay.
We just got it like a week or two ago.
And then unrestricted, this is it for the last one, unrestricted as well?
Correct. So we did 10,000, when we did that additional appropriation, we did it for the exact dollar amount for Project Hope that was already done at the end of like about October-ish of last year. That was never encumbered, none of that. I think just with the holidays and everything, it never got paid out. So at that time, Brad and I had a discussion, let's do an additional appropriation for 10,000 that the police could use at their discretion. They have not used that for this year. So they have
Okay.
not used any 25 funds that has been appropriated for anything. Then
But-
us talking, that we could use this, you could use that for, out of the 25, the 10,000.
So it's sitting there in an account, not really
Correct.
saying it's for the police department specifically for a current project. It's a fund amount sitting there that the
Correct.
police can use out of.
Correct.
But then that money has been appropriated and
Because
basically.
we already,
Because you said that's where, and it went into a fund, they may not have used it, but then it's, and what's the fund? Does anybody know what is that fund called?
It's
Unrestricted
just unrestricted.
opioid fund.
Okay, so then it hasn't left.
No, it's a line item that says unrestricted appropriate, or
Correct.
opioid fund that they can use out of, not
Correct.
necessarily assigned directly to them as part
Right.
of their budget. Right, Megan?
Mm-hmm, yep.
It just seems like at some point that would get moved over somewhere
It would be like,
from that.
your CCMG, or you're not CCMG, your CCI fund just sits there and people can use out of that.
Correct.
Okay. I just have some questions on the
I rescind
procedure of
my-
it. Can we
my
just deal
motion.
with it
Yeah.
at the next
Carry over
meeting?
then?
What?
Does the balance carry over then? If they don't use,
I mean, it's a loaded question. You don't, your balance is always there. You appropriate it. It's like what
but you're
you
gonna
want to,
prepare another
like,
10,000 in 2026?
correct. We just, yeah,
So there'll be 20 in there.
If the fund's there, if the account's there, the
Yes.
savings account's there.
Yes.
So it does accumulate.
But my question was gonna be though, if we're talking about $2,800, does this count where it could come out of restricted? And the police department can get all of their money and Marshall County Hope gets,
Yeah.
a little bit of a
$2,800
haircut in
less.
26. You know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I'd rather reapportion it that way maybe, but I'm also not clear on, I thought there was a pretty steep cliff on the restricted funds
No.
coming in
The restricted.
for 2026, like there may not be that much more coming out of this.
Yeah.
But I guess I'd like to also revisit the Dustin's place with, if there's monies left over, if there's 10 and it's not been used and there's another 10 going in, there's 20. I mean, I'd like to open the discussion up to provide them with some help.
Yeah.
So
At the
it's,
time, it was already signed and we didn't have any money.
right, but they were after, I think, restricted funds as well, because they counted. I'm not sure this will count for the restricted funds, but I'd say let's answer that question. But you wanna put it all on the table, what we should do is come back and say, this is how much is available, restricted and unrestricted.
But I don't think it matters, it wouldn't matter to Dustin's place whether we give them, they were just saying you can't use this restricted for anything else.
Right,
But we had already
right,
appropriated that to Hope.
right.
I mean, if we have unrestricted, it's not being used and we can provide help and
Right.
it's, I mean, I just think we should open it up for discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll just
Do some digging.
Yep.
we'll come back with answers on those numbers, so.
All right,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
all in favor? Aye. So moved.
Don't leave yet, you guys can hang out for a couple minutes.
so Tara's still here. You could send it to her.
Well, if you come to me,